Hi there, my name's Nimmer Stern, and I'm the founder of Stern Deeds Media and Entertainment Industry Solutions. I set up this company to help other creative and freelance professionals pursue their dreams in the United States. I've lived and worked here for the last 7 years, and I've found that the O1 visa gives you the most flexibility to work on a variety of different projects. So what I'm hoping to do with this presentation is to give you a small guide of how it works and give you a couple of tips to the application process. But let me just say, I'm not a lawyer, so if you do have any specific questions, you should seek legal advice. Now let's take a minute to talk about the costs involved with this visa, the fixed costs, if you will. There's a $325 filing fee with immigration. This is for a 90-day response, but typically we've found people get their responses within about a month. If you already have a job waiting for you and you need to accelerate that process, there is a quick response fee of $1,225. In addition to this, you'll need advisory opinions from 2 local unions or labour organisations, and this can cost you around $100 to $250 per letter, depending on your union for your profession. And then once you get the visa, there's a $190 visa application fee that you'll need to pay when you go to your US consulate in your country. Now, if you're already in the US, you don't have to do that until you decide to leave. Legal fees can cost you anywhere from $2,000 up to $5,500, and that really does run the range there. For the cheaper lawyers, they'll basically have you do all the work, they'll just file it for you, whereas at the top end of that price range, they will write the letters for you, they'll follow up, they'll put the whole package together, and you'll have some sort of confidence. So my message is that having a lawyer is a bit like having an insurance policy. It gives you the best chance of getting the visa and getting it in a timely fashion. Now let's talk a little bit about how the visa works. The O1 visa is for aliens of exceptional ability in the arts, sports, business, and science. Now, don't be thrown by that term exceptional ability. You don't have to be the greatest performer or artist in the world to get it. All you need to do is prove that you've done work of a very high standard and that you have played a critical role in those productions. Now, the way you do this is through the letters and through certain articles of evidence, and then associating with other top people in your field. Also, if you've won any awards or have had any articles written about you, these all bode very well for your application. Now, the O1 is divided into 2 different categories. There's the O1A for people in science, education, business, and athletics. And then there's the O1B for people in arts, motion picture, and the television industries, which is going to be most people we deal with. Now, let's take a minute to talk about the steps you need to go through to get the O1 visa. Like I mentioned earlier, it's probably about a month, roughly, to actually have your application processed. But getting all the evidence together really is what's going to take the most time. Step number 1 is get a sponsor. Now that can be us. Like I mentioned in the start, the purpose of our company was to help creative and freelance individuals pursue their dreams in the United States. So by sponsoring people from all over the world, we want to create a community of people who are all striving for the same goal. This is often the hardest part about moving to a new country, is that you're on your own and you don't have anyone to vouch for you. So this way, we can act as your sponsor, and you'll legally be able to work in the United States. I only wish I had something like this when I was starting out. If you don't decide to sign with us, that's fine. You'll need to find a US entity that is willing to sign a contract stating that they intend to work with you during your stay here. You'll need to provide your social security number once you get it, and a copy of your passport. Now, the sponsor or petitioner can file either as your employer or as your agent. Now, we, for the most part, recommend people sign as an agent, because as your agent, you can then work for multiple different employees and on different projects. Step number 2 is getting letters of recommendation. These are the letters from people that you've worked with who can testify that you have an extraordinary talent and that you've played a prominent role in the success of these projects. This is one of the most persuasive arguments in your visa case. Now, you'll need to get between 10 and 20 letters for your file, so we recommend you approaching 12 to 15 people. That way, if someone doesn't come through for you, you'll still have enough to apply. There's nothing worse than waiting for 1 or 2 people to come through just to get to that 10 letters mark. We've got a sample here of what a letter looks like and the kind of language that you want to use. But again, here, if you do hire a lawyer, they can pretty much write this letter for you. You'll send it off to the people. They'll need to print it on a company letterhead and sign it down the bottom. Maybe put a paragraph there about their own experience and who they are. The third step is to create an itinerary of activities for the length of your visa. So if you're applying for a 3-year visa, you'll need to show immigration what you plan to do for those 3 years. Now, as any freelancer will tell you, we don't even know what's happening in the next year, let alone the next 3 years. But this is a necessary step to get this visa. So what you need to do is you need to get letters of intent or deal memos from potential employees. Now, these are not legally binding documents. They don't have to guarantee you work. They just need to say that they intend to hire you. Again, it's good to get like 3 or 4 of these at least, stating that you're willing to work for them. And then once you start working, you can amend that itinerary of activity to be more realistic to what you're actually doing. Step number 4 is advisory opinions. Like I explained to you earlier, you'll need to get a letter from labour organisations or unions in your field that state that they allow you to work here. Now we've got an example here of one that I've got from IATSE, which is the film and television union, and it's a pretty basic letter here that states that they allow you to work here. Step number 5 is gathering evidence. And this is where you collect newspaper articles, journals, magazine, or online publications talking about the productions you've worked on. If you've been mentioned in those articles, then great. If you haven't been, those projects, and then a little bit about the people you've been working with and the level of work. Because the perception here is if you're working with high quality people, then you must be of high quality. And again, we want to just state that the role that you played was a pivotal role in that production. If you have any awards or if you have any programs or press kits that mention your name, these are all excellent forms of evidence to use for your application. Then once you've collected all that, you need to get a letter from your sponsor, a letter of notice, and then collect all the paperwork and then send it off to immigration. Like I said, you can expect about a month for this to come through. Once you've received the approval, it'll look like this. But the process is not over yet. If you're already in the United States, at this point you're legal to start working. But if you aren't in the US, you'll need to go to an embassy to get their visa stamp in your passport. Lawyers will always recommend that you go to your country of origin in case there's any complications, but just make sure that the consulate you're going to will process this visa. And then finally, once you do get your visa, we suggest that you write letters to all the people that have helped you out or provided evidence, and just thank them. You always want to maintain good relationships with these people in case you need to ask them for a favor again. Now, if you have any questions about this process or you are looking for a sponsor, we'd be more than willing to help you. You can email us at info@sterndeeds.com, or you can go to our website www.sterndeeds.com, and we have it translated into 5 different languages. What you'll do there is you'll go to a Contact Us page, and if you fill out that form, someone will respond to you, generally within about 24 hours. Look, I hope this presentation was useful to you, and good luck in pursuing your dreams in the United States. See ya.